Therefore, you will not see me nicely. Because they complain that if light is coming from below, then I don't see it. There is no electricity. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vandeham Shri Guror Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindha Deenabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradaine Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Janmadhyasya Tanvayaditratas Charte Subhigya Swarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muyyanti Yat Suraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, chapter number 30. And these are teachings of Lord Kapila to his mother Devhuti. In the previous 5 chapters, he explained about Yoga, Sankhya and Bhakti. And now, in this chapter and the next 2 chapters, he is going to explain how people suffer in the material world by performing materialistic activities. And as we read yesterday, Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur, he commented that the purpose is to bring a sense of detachment to this material world. Because if you want to take to spiritual life, no matter which path you follow, Gyan Marg, Bhakti Marg, Yoga Marg, some vairagya is needed. Some detachment is necessary for that. Because if one is attached to materialistic life, then it is not possible. You cannot put your 2 legs in 2 boats and expect to reach anywhere. You will only be in trouble and may finally drown. So therefore, one has to have some vairagya, and vairagya comes when you realize the futility of something. If you are doing something and you realize that it is futile, it is useless, you are not going to get anything. You come with closed hands and you go with empty hands, open hands. So you work whole life, and then what do you gain? Nothing. You gain something which is only problematic. Some bad karma you have accumulated. Because good or bad, here everything is bad. Guna dosha drishir dosa. Gunastu bhevarjita. So, Jnana Kanda, Karma Kanda, and Sarve Vishera Bhanda. It's all poison. Because even if you go to heaven, that is also problem. And you go to hell, that is also problem. That is another thing, that out of bewilderment, out of moha, confusion, misconception, ignorance, we may feel settled in that garbage. You get used to. If you go somewhere and it's smelling bad, you smell it bad only for some time. After a few minutes, you don't smell it. So therefore, people who come from outside, they point out all the problems which we may have here. They say, what is this garbage lying here, and this sewer is open, and all these dogs running around. But those people who live here, they don't see these things. Why they don't see it? Because they get used to it. We get used to things. Our body has what you call
immunity,
tendency to acclimatize with the situation. Not only with the temperature, but with every situation you get acclimatized. And then you even get addicted to it. That if you don't get that smell, then you feel uncomfortable. That famous story about the fisherwoman who could not sleep because there was no smell of the fish. So we may be bothered about the fish smell if you go to beach sometimes. You know, right? They're spreading this fish there, it smells quite horrible. But those people who are working with it, they actually like it. And they cannot live without it. So that is called conditioning. So living being is conditioned now, and in whichever species of life you go, you become conditioned. That's what he said. That wherever he goes, then he becomes yam yam yonim anubrajet. Janturvai bhave tasmin yam yam yonim anubrajet tasyam salabte nirvritimna navirajyate. So this is called conditioning. That we get used to it. When we are living here in hot country and you go to Alaska or somewhere and you wonder why people are living here. And this person, if he comes to hot place like India, he will wonder why these guys are living here. They should come to Alaska. So both have their own conditioning. They get used to it. So this description is there to wake us up from that conditioning. That is the whole idea. And of course here what you will hear the description, it is of not 21st century. What is happening now? It is some 5,000 years ago what was happening, but actually the situation is still the same. Although the exact setup of the family life, because he is going to describe mainly the family life, how people, they suffer in the family life. And this word suffer, there is also word suffer in Hindi, which means to travel. So it was interesting that Jaya is going to Allahabad and this Arun is also going, and he was saying कि हम सफ़र करेंगे, which literally she thought that because sometimes here in India, in Hindi, people use English words in Hindi sentences. So हम सफ़र करेंगे, हम means we and करेंगे means do, and suffer is suffer. So it seems like he was saying we will suffer. Although what he meant was suffer also means travel, that we will travel to Allahabad. But it is also interesting that this traveling is also suffering. Right? Maybe that's why it is called suffer. So the life is suffering. Life is a suffer. It's a travel and it is suffering. But when we are conditioned, then we don't see it like that. So he used another word. He says, Dev Maya Vimohita, being bewildered by the Maya of the Lord. Narkasthopi deham vai na pumans tyaktum ichchati. In whichever species of life we are born, we don't want to give that up. We become attached to that. Everybody has this attachment to the form or body in which one is living. And nobody wants to give it up. So, why? Because there is some sense of satisfaction which you derive from that. And therefore, he says, Narakyam nirvritau satyam dev maya vimohita. Even if you are in hell, you get used to that. And you will feel lost without it. So he continues explaining this. He says, Atmajaya sutagar pashu dravin bandhushu nirudha moola hirde atmanam bahumanyate. So there is two type of conditioning. One is called I and other is called my. Aham mamiti. So first is conditioning that this is, I am this body. And this is very nice conditioning. So first we like our body. We are very much attached to it. And we defend it. If anybody says something to you that, oh, you look horrible, then how much are you offended? Right? This question was asked, very interesting question was asked by Yudhishthira Maharaj to Narada. That how is that Shishupal who was abusing Krishna, he did not go to hell. You should actually, if you abuse God, you should go to hell, right? But he did not go. So, there is an explanation given. He says that was he abusing Krishna or he was abusing something which he was thinking is Krishna? Because whatever he was saying is not applicable to Krishna. Krishna is transcendental to all that. Because he was having a material concept of Krishna. And then he is talking about it. So Krishna is beyond that. So we are also beyond the body, but we identify with it, and if someone says something, if someone says, oh, you look very wonderful, even if he does not say that you look wonderful, he says, you look very wonderful in this dress. So is it you who are wonderful or the dress is wonderful? Who is wonderful? And the dress will come and go. But we become fascinated even by that. You look very nice in that bandi, Prabhu. So then you are 6 inches above the ground. Okay, 5.5.
But immediately the next person comes and says, oh, what a ridiculous hat.
Then he will defend. So this I and my is being described here. He says that Nirudh Mool Hridaya Atmanam Bahumanyate, that one considers oneself great. By what? When the mind is set up in this Atma, means body, Jaya, wife, this may not be applicable now anymore. Previously people were also proud of their wife. Somebody's wife was beautiful, educated, learned, then they, right?
Right.
But these days, wives also come and go. So, not such a great moment of pride. They already made a contract. And then Suta, children, both daughter, son, and house how wonderful is my house. And Pashu, in the olden days they had animals, now you have cars. They had 4 legs, you have 4 wheels. It is the difference. So that is called Pashu. And Dravid, your credit card, how many you have? And what else? And relatives. So these are the things which make us feel proud, which make us feel great. Because I is fortified with my. If you have good, powerful relatives, nice house, very nice car, you are driving some Ferrari or Porsche, then your ego is inflated. Or if your husband or wife has some special characteristic. So all these things, they make one very proud. And I am so great. Konyasti sadrisho maya. Who else is there like me? So everybody thinks like this. Even if you don't have these things, still you may assume them. But everybody thinks himself or herself special. Don't think that only you think that you are special. The person next to you is also thinking same about himself or herself. Everyone. There is a saying in Arabian that when God creates human beings, then He speaks with one mantra in their ear. And that mantra is, He says in the ear that there is nobody like you. So this is the mantra which everybody gets by birth. This is the Diksha mantra. You may have other mantras, but everyone is born with this mantra. Every child is special. And the parents are always giving this mantra. That you are so great, you are so wonderful, you are so nice. You hear all this from your parents and you believe it. Because you don't think that the parents are telling lies. And they also don't tell it. And then this goes inside you. It never comes out afterwards. So God is not saying it in anybody's ear, but parents say it, and parents are like gods to the children. They are taking care. They are the creator. And they are the protector. So they say it, and you grow up with it. Later on you may rebel against your parents, it doesn't matter, but the mantra is carried on. So this is what gives one very strong ego. Nirudha Mula Hirdaya. That these things are all very set, very deep, nirudha. Their roots are inside your heart. The deep samskaras are lying inside the heart and they don't come out. The seeds are there, they grow from there. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, there is not much commentary on this verse. It says, Nirudham Moolam Yasya Tadrisham Hridayam Yasya. So this root of all these things is very fixed in the heart, and the person who has a heart like this, he becomes very proud and he thinks that I am on the top of the universe. Sandayyaman sarvanga evam udvahanadhina karoti aviratam mudho duritani durashaya. And then he says that the person's whole body is burning because he has to carry these things on his back. If you have wife, children, And as I said again, this is old time description. Now wife and husband are not like that. Wife is also making money. In the olden time, wife was not making money. That's why in Sanskrit the word for marriage is called vivaha. It comes from the dhatu vaha, which means to carry. From the same root you have the word vahan for vehicle. The vehicle in Sanskrit is called vahana, because vahan is that which carries you. And vivaha means that you find a person whom you have to carry for rest of your life. So wife is supposed to be carried by the husband all the time. That's why when in India they get married, they tie their clothes together and they go around the fire. So they are tied. So that is described here, that he says that Esham udvahan adhina. Adhi means anxiety. Vyadhi means bodily disease and adhi means mental disturbance. So he says the person is always disturbed to maintain these things. So now you may not be worried about maintaining your wife and children, because you may not have children, but you may have car and a house. These are very important things now. And you may have to bother about their insurance and about their maintenance, because this is compulsory to have a car. So car is now like you get married to a car or to a house. In marriage at least you can divorce, but these things there is no divorce. If the car is old, you get another one. So whole life you have to carry. You think that the car is carrying you, but actually you are carrying the car on your head because you have to pay all the bills. So that is called Adi. Udvahan Adina, that your whole body is actually shaking because of this anxiety. And karoti aviratam mudho duritani durashe. And therefore continuously you have to work. People are doing 2 jobs now to maintain themselves, because 40% you have to pay tax. If you do some job in the West, then
15 to 20% in my bracket, but I'm in a very low bracket.
yeah, that's sometimes, well, actually it is very deluding. People think that they are paying 15 to 20%
We're
tax.
paying more because sales tax, other taxes.
Yeah, but when you go and first you pay your tax on your salary, then you go to shop and you buy something, you pay tax again.
Yeah.
Now why are you paying tax again? Your salary is already been taxed. You already have a taxed salary, and from that salary again you pay this tax, that tax.
And when you inherit, the person who earned the money paid the tax.
Then you pay tax
Then you
again.
pay tax on it again.
So government is actually cutting your pocket at every step. Any transaction you make with money, they cut. So if you actually analyze, you end up paying 40%. So this is, therefore one has to work so hard. Karoti aviritam. Previously people were not working so hard. At least in India, people lived in the villages. They didn't pay any tax. Everybody had some land. They worked on the land. You got your produce. Of course, they didn't have wealth. They did not have car or some great houses. They lived in simple huts. But they didn't have to work very hard. Now you have to pay for all this. You pay house tax and then you have insurance, and it is compulsory to have the insurance, not that you can avoid it, because they make law for everything. So many laws are made and then they say that you are a free citizen. So where is the freedom? You are bound by so many laws. You have to have health insurance, you have to have house insurance, you have to have this insurance. And then you are free. So therefore he says that this person is called Mudha, stupid. And the stupid person has to continuously work day and night, remain in anxiety. Now so many people lost houses in America. They are selling their houses even for $100 in Detroit. And there is no one ready to buy them. Duritani durase. Then people start doing wrong acts, illegal activities, because anyway you have to survive. The survival instinct is there in everybody. So how to maintain, especially if you have your family and children, you have to feed them, it's your responsibility. So then durasha, then your heart is full of trash because of all this. So this is the meaning of bondage, that how we are bound by all these various things. So udvayan adhina rakshana poshana anuranjana vivaha pradhanadi chintaya. So it says there is anxiety for protecting, for maintaining, for entertaining, for marrying. In India, this is one extra anxiety in India, that you have to marry your children. In the West, they give birth to children, at least they don't have to worry about their marriage. Children manage it themselves. Parents are not bothered about that. They find their own partner and it's their headache. In India, big headache to marry. So this is saying Vivaha Pradhanadi Chintaya. So one remains continuously in this chinta or anxiety. Akshipta Atmendriya Strinam Asatinam Cha Mayaya Raho Rachitaya Alapai Shishunam Kalabhashinam. Then he says that he's talking about men, but it's not only for men, it's for both men and women. Just in Sanskrit there is something called Lakshana. Lakshana means that one thing is described and it indicates other thing also. Kakebhyo nadhirakshatam. Someone says that there is a pot of yogurt lying in the open and someone tells you, please protect this yogurt from the crows. So the birds, they may come and eat it. So although he is asking you to protect only from the crows, but suppose a cat comes or a rat comes, will you not protect that? You will also protect from them. It is understood. So here the crow does not mean only crow. It includes cat, rat, dog, anyone who can spoil the yogurt. It's all included in the word crow. So the meaning of the word kaka is not limited only to crow. It is extended. So that is called Lakshana. So many times people criticize that Shastra is speaking in derogatory manner about women. And what about men? So it is not like that. It is by Lakshana, it is also spoken of the other. Instead of writing another line, it is just understood by one line. Instead of telling that protect the yogurt from crows, from the dogs, from the rat, from cat, from whatever, cockroach. He just says protect it from the crow and it is the rest is understood. So like that, he says that Akshapta Atma Indriya Strinam Asatinam Cha Maya, that the person's senses are attracted by women, and especially who are not of good character, asati, unchaste woman, and he is very much infatuated by that. So same about women, that a woman's senses are attracted by men of improper character. They want to exploit and enjoy them, so they are attracted. So this Raho Rachitaya Alape, all these talks which you may have privately, so they are very much attractive. When man and woman are together and they have a secret talk, then this is very bounding, controlling and bewildering to both of them. So then they fall into this illusion of enjoyment. And if you have children, then Shishunam Kalbhashinam. If you have small children, then they are very attractive, very cute. Right? Like when we were there in function, I saw you were also running to this small boy. Isn't it? So he is very cute. And then I saw another two girl trying to play, and this boy was just not interested. He didn't want to be, because these small children, they are like toys. Like children like to play with toys. The grown-up people, they want to play with children who are like toys for them. So it is a great pleasure. Take a boy, small baby, lift in the air, throw up, down like this. Yes? This is very pleasuring. And if they speak some words in their stuttering voice, this is Kalabhashina. And that is very sweet. There is nothing sweeter than that you have small babies and they are speaking few words, right? You have experienced this? Right? So you are unfortunate. You do not get this taste.
I worked in the kindergarten for 2 years, by the
Yeah,
way.
but that's not the pleasure. That pleasure, Madhav Priya, she said little demons. She was calling them monsters, yeah.
Monsters.
Little monsters. So working with that is not what he's saying. This is Kalbhashina. When you have your own children and they speak this few words, that is called Kalbhashana. That very, very attractive. It just captivates your heart. So this is what binds you, and then you remain absorbed in it, how to take care of these little toys. And you work very hard for that. And then, like birds, they fly away. Like the birds, they give eggs, they hatch the eggs, and then they feed. How these little babies are there, when the mother is coming, they immediately open their mouth. And the mother is working so hard, bringing the feed for them. She is not eating herself, she finds some food, she brings it and gives it to the baby birds. And this baby bird, as soon as she comes out, you have seen how they jump? With their mouth up like this. And as soon as the wings come, then they fly away. And then where is the mother, where is the father? Forget it. So this is the story. In human life also it is a little bit like that. गृहेषु कूटधर्मेषु दुःखतन्त्रेषु तन्द्रितः कुर्वन् दुःखप्रतीकारं सुखवन् मन्यते गृही. And then person who has his house, so griheshu kuta dharmeshu, he is in his house and engaged in Kuta Dharma means to maintain this house he engages in some illegal acts. Because by legal means you cannot earn much money. So you have to come up with some Kuta Dharma, some hypocrisy, not straightforward. And Dukkha Tantreshu Tandrika. And you are in a tantra of misery, in a network of sufferings. And Atandrita. You cannot be, what is the word? Tandra means like laziness. You are alert all the time. Atandrita means always alert.
Vigilant.
Yes. Because all the time some problem or the other is coming. Sometimes the geyser is not working. Sometimes the tap is leaking. Sometimes some other equipment is burnt because there was a power surge. So when you put milk for boiling, it overflew. Because your mind was given to something else. So in the house,
Hello?
there are always some problems like this.
Yeah.
And Kurvan Dukkha Pratikaram. So you are always trying to counteract these miseries. You have to find a solution for that. And you don't know what problem is going to come. Problem to your own body, some accident, or to family members, or to the house, or to the car. Always. It's very rare that you can just find a peaceful moment. And if you are peaceful, then you may get a message from somebody else. And there is problem. And that will destroy you. Because we are all interrelated to so many people. And now through the Facebook, it's very quick to get messages. Through email. Previously, if something happened, the message came very late. So at least that long you remain without disturbance. Now the news comes so fast that you are immediately caught. And you have your own mobile, because email you may not check all the time. Then you have your mobile. So immediately you get. So therefore he says, Kurvan Dukkha Pratikaram Sukhvan Manyate Grihi. But a householder considers this also as happiness, that he is taking care of all these troubles. In fact, if there is nothing happening, that may look like boring. There is no problem to solve. Then you may invent a problem. Sometimes the governments do that. When everything is going nicely, they create problem. Otherwise, how they will get vote? Because you get vote when you have solved a problem. Then you can talk about it in your speech before the elections. But suppose there is no problem. There is no war, there is no inflation, there is no attack from anywhere, no terrorism. Then what do you have to give speech for? So they also knowingly create problem. And they can talk, look, this problem came and then we did this, we help people. So then you feel happy about it. So he says that he considers taking care of this dukkha pratikaram sukhvan manyate. That taking care of these problems, he considers this as pleasurable. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti gives his comment, Kuta with Sathyadi Bahula Dharma Yesu Dukkha Tantresu Dukkha Pradhanesu. So Kuta Dharma, he says that there are various types of illegal ways to make money with the Satya. Cheating, deceiving, to earn money. Then he is in all these activities are dukha pradhan, they are predominantly miserable, but he mistakes them for happiness. Arthairapaditairgurvyam hinsyas stan pushnati yesam poshena sheshabhuk yati adhasvayam. Then he says that Arthairabaditair gurvya hinsya itastatasya, that he earns money by doing some violence, hinsya, gurvya hinsya, heavy violence. And itastatasya pushnati, and by doing all these types of activities, he maintains family members, children. And sesbhuk yati adhasvan, and himself he eats the remnants. So there is this story about Ratnakar, dacoit, who became Ratnakar, who became Valmiki. So he was a dacoit. His name was Ratnakar. He used to loot people who were passing by and take their money and maintain his family. So once Narada Rishi, he was passing by, he also caught him. Hey Babaji, where are you going? So Narada, he only has his veena, he thought he is some musician, he must be making good money. So Narada said, I am a sadhu, I don't have anything. I don't even have a house, no wife, no children. So he said, well, if you have no wife, no children, no house, you must have money then. Because all these things cost. You are not paying house tax. So you must be having some money. So he said, no, I don't have any money. So he did not believe him, so he searched him. And finally he didn't get anything. So Narada asked him that, why are you doing all this? So he said, well, I am doing it because I need to maintain my wife and children. So he says that, do you know that what you are doing is actually irreligious, immoral? So he says, yeah, that I know. So he says, then he asked him that, you think that your wife, children, they will also participate in the reaction of this karma. You are doing some irreligious act. For this you have to suffer, and you are doing it for your family members. Will they take part in it? Will they take a portion of the suffering also? So this was a very pertinent question which this Ratnakar has never thought. So he says, well, he answered, I never thought of that. So he says, why don't you go home and ask your family people? So this Ratnakar thought that this guy is very smart and he's trying to get off the hook. This way he is trying to escape, because I will go home and then he will run away from here. So he says, oh, you are very clever. You are asking me this question so that you can escape. So Narada said, no, I am not trying to escape, I am serious. And if you don't believe me, you tie me to the tree. So I will not run away. So he did that. He tied Narada Muni to a tree with his hands on the back side, and he tied him. So imagine poor Narada. He is tied. So he went home and he asked his wife, his children and parents who were there that, I am looting people, the travelers who were traveling by the road, and I bring money to maintain. So will you also take part in the sinful reaction of this karma? So everybody refused. And he was very surprised. He says, what is this? I am working hard and I am engaging in this adharma, illegal, irreligious act, to to support these people and they don't want to take any reaction. So he came back and he saw that Narada was there, and now he had respect for this man. He opened him and he asked for forgiveness. He says, "You have opened my eyes. I am such a fool. I am working to maintain these people and they are not going to at all take part in this reaction, in this sinful act." So Narada said, "Then what do you want to do now?" So he says, "Please tell me some way." So he says, "Forget about maintaining them. Now you do some bhajan. Do some devotion." So he says, "How do I do devotion?" He says, "You chant the name of Lord Ram." Of course, the story goes that he was not even able to pronounce Ram. So I told him to chant Mara. And when he said Mara, 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 it became Rama, Rama, Rama. And then he is the person who became then a great sage as Valmiki, who wrote Ramayana. The author of original Ramayana is Valmiki. And he became Valmiki because he sat down and he chanted, and he was so absorbed that the termites made house around him. Because Valmiki in Sanskrit means the house of the termites. That's why his name became Valmiki. So he became perfected by chanting the name of the Lord. And then actually Brahma ordered him to write Ramayana. So he became so great. Otherwise, people are, he says, Ses Bhuki Yati Adhaswam, that performing all these activities, a person falls down and is only eating the remnants of these family people. Because he will give the best thing to these people, whatever remains, then he eats. So Vartayam Lupyamanayam Arabdhayam Puna Puna Lobhavibhuto Nisatve Pararthe Kurute Spriham. So he says that he does some business. Varta here means some means to survive, but it always fails. Vartayam Lupyamanayam. He starts one business, he fails in that, starts another one, he fails in that. It's not successful. Arabdhayam Puna Puna. Again and again he starts. And Lobha Vibhuto Nisattva. But his mind is very greedy to make money. But he is Nisattva. He has no money. And Pararthe Kurute Spriham. Then he desires to get money of other people. Pararthe. And he is not able to get money himself. Then he wants to get money of other people. So this is how he becomes even more fallen. And Kutumba Bharana Kalpo Mandabhagyo Vrithodhyama Sriya Vihina Kripano Dhyayan Swasiti Mudadhi. So he is very much attached to maintaining the family life, family, children, but he is akalpa. He is not capable. Kutumba Bharano Akalpa, not capable of maintaining the family. Mandabhagyo, he is unfortunate, Vrithodhyama, and all his endeavor are a failure. So Sriya Vihina, he loses all his wealth, beauty, and Kripana, he is miser, Dhyan Swasiti Mudati. So this foolish person is crying, or as if crying, and taking long breath, like when you cry. What will happen now? So this is his situation. So I will stop here. Don't want you to become too much depressed by hearing all this material miseries of a materialistic person. But many people face this. Not that everybody is like this, but many people have to go through this type of suffering.
That's right. It's very exhausting to have a family.
Yes,
Everybody wants something from you all the time.
all the time.
You have no peace for nothing.
And they don't care whether you have a peace or you don't have a
Yeah.
peace. They want, mommy, give me this, I want this. Always demanding. So you are very fortunate. You didn't go through this trouble.
So
Yes.
you said in the first part of the class that Vairagya comes if one realizes the futility of something.
Yes.
Now, all endeavors ultimately are futile and people experience it all the time. Right?
No, they don't experience. This is what he was saying. That they don't experience and therefore they keep on doing it. Puna puna.
That was my
Vartayam lupyamanayam arabdhayam puna puna. Right? Again and again.
So it actually takes, when is there a process or is there a time involved, or what does it take for a person to realize or to come to this stage of understanding and realizing the futility of something?
No, by hearing.
And enough pain.
No, even if pain is there, you may become depressed, but you don't get really detached. The actual detachment, which is useful for spiritual life, comes only when you hear. That's
But,
why this description.
But to come to the point of hearing, being in the sadhu sangha and hearing shastra and so on, already implies that you have some vairagya.
Not necessary. You may hear just by accident or out of curiosity. Let me just hear what these guys are doing. It can happen like that. It is not necessary that you hear. Of course, when vairagya is there, then you hear. That is another hearing. But sometimes you hear without vairagya also.
And even if somebody obtains vairagya, that does not necessarily bring him to bhakti, right?
Does not. That's why I said that vairagya, that useful type of vairagya comes only when you hear from the devotees or from the holy people, sadhus. That is useful vairagya.
Because usually what happens, a person becomes fried, disgusted with the activity or a result of an activity, and then he becomes very angry.
Angry, frustrated, depressed.
That is not vairagya.
We are talking about vairagya here means that you lose interest in material life and you think of spiritual life. That's why I'm saying useful vairagya. That kind of vairagya does not lead to spiritual life unless you come in contact with spiritual people. You may become disinterested, but you don't know what to do. You have no alternative.
So when Krishna says in the Gita that Manushyanam Sahasrashu Paschitya, that it takes many lives, that means that vairagya builds up or is cultivated over many lives?
Yeah, or you can say that in many lives, after many lives, you may meet the right person, by whose association you will develop this type of vairagya which will bring you to spiritual life. Brahmand Brahmita Kaun Bhagyavan Jeev. So that is the bhagya, or good fortune.
If there are no sadhus around,
If there are
no sadhus, no wise men, no sages around, is it enough to have some scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah, but usually without hearing from sadhu you will not understand them properly. Scriptures are good, but they also are beneficial when you hear from sadhu. But you have to have some contact with some sadhu. And if you don't meet anybody and you read scripture, then also you will get the desire to meet somebody.
Question to the story of the thief and Narada. Actually, I didn't quite understand the question which the thief was asking to his family.
That I am doing this sinful act, will you also take part in the reaction of this sinful act?
So he asked the question to his family.
Yeah. Means he is feeding them, he is bringing money by legal means, and this is developing some karma for him. So he asked that will you also take part in the karma? And they refused.
It means that they did not want to take the.
So no, we don't want.
So the thief already knew that he doesn't go for a good one.
Yeah, so he realized that I am maintaining these people and I am doing sinful act, and I am the only one who is going to suffer. All the money which I am bringing, everybody is enjoying that. So they are taking part in the money, but not in the reaction. So I thought, why shall I do it?
And after realizing this, the thief stopped his job.
Gave up.
And what was actually how the story followed? Also how did the family maintain for themselves?
They must have figured out something else.
So it still worked.
That was their headache.
Was without their father. Without their father.
Yes. And so many times somebody dies and leaves the children behind. You also maintain somehow.
Because actually I realized that nowadays this is like actually the story of nowadays. It's actually nowadays just as I get to invest, like everybody is doing direct and indirect such this kind of activity. At any levels. So it's also very difficult also how to explain to the people also how they should what they should not work. Because I had actually one friend and she was doing some work or something in biology and doing some works on animals. And she doesn't like that, but she also doesn't have any other chance. And for me it was pretty impossible to explain so how to give another solution for them, to just to open their eyes. Because on the one side the people doesn't have any other choice other to stop it. And the other side they do not want to. So the thief was pretty blessed. And actually he could understand this.
Yes, of course, he met somebody like Narada.
जी वाल्मीकि जी दो थे, एक सुपज वाल्मीकि जी।
मैं तो पता नहीं, मैं तो एक ही जानता
नहीं, जो विदुर जी धर्मराज जो साप जो दिया था जमराज जी को, तो ये जो सुपज वाल्मीकि जो बुलाए थे यज्ञ का पूरा नहीं हुआ, ये अलग थे।
पता नहीं. Alright.
So you said in the beginning that we parents, we say to the children that they are very special, but they are very special actually.
Yeah,
Everybody is.
everybody is special. In this creation, everybody is special.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Then we tell them the truth.
Yeah, you tell them the truth, but you don't become proud because of that. That is the problem. Being special, of course, God's creation, everything is special. And then to become proud because of that, that's the problem.
Better not to say, or
No, it's necessary to children.
so say not so much, or
No, not said too much, because then they start thinking too much about it.
one time and pray.
Well, it's one thing to say you're special because
Yeah,
you're a
no,
child
really.
of God, and it's another thing to say you're special because
Yes.
you're so smart, you're special because you're so pretty, you're special because we're so rich. That's the difference.
Yeah,
You
that's
don't
true.
tell the children who they really are,
Mm.
and that's why they're special.
Yeah, that's